Welcome to this gentle economics sleep documentary. Tonight, we explore the quiet, intricate world of the global coffee supply chain. This is a story told slowly, with a focus on the calm, steady flow of commerce that brings this daily ritual to life. As we journey through the history of the coffee bean, feel free to drift off. If you enjoy these deep dives into the quiet side of economics, please leave a comment letting us know where in the world you are listening from. It helps our community grow. Now, let the quiet ritual begin. The world is loud. It moves with a relentless, hurried pace, demanding our attention, our energy, our immediate response. But there are quiet rituals woven into the fabric of our days, moments of gentle pause that allow the world to slow down, if only for a breath. The most universal of these rituals, the one that bridges continents and cultures, is the simple act of preparing and drinking coffee. This is a story about coffee, but it is also a story about economics, the gentle, almost silent economics that underpins this daily ritual. It is a story of a commodity that is traded globally, yet cultivated locally, a product that has fueled revolutions, inspired art, and built empires, all while maintaining a profound sense of calm in its consumption. Our journey begins not in the bustling modern markets of London or New York, but in the tranquil, high-altitude forests of Ethiopia, centuries ago. Legend, often softened by time and repetition, tells of a goat herder named Kaldi. He noticed his goats, after eating the bright red berries of a certain bush, became unusually energetic, dancing through the night. Kaldi, in his curiosity, brought the berries to a local monastery. The monks, suspicious of this strange, stimulating fruit, cast them into the fire. But as the beans roasted, an intoxicating aroma filled the air, the world's first accidental coffee roast. The monks, drawn by the scent, raked the glowing embers out, crushed the roasted beans, and mixed them with hot water. The resulting brew was bitter, yet invigorating. It allowed them to stay awake during long hours of prayer. This was the genesis of coffee as a beverage. But its economic journey truly began when it crossed the Red Sea into Yemen. In the port city of Mocha, coffee cultivation was perfected and monopolized. For centuries, Yemen was the sole source of the world's coffee supply. This control was not just geographical, it was a deliberate economic strategy. The beans were guarded fiercely, and only infertile, roasted beans were allowed to leave the port, ensuring that no one could grow the plant elsewhere. The early economic model of coffee was one of scarcity and control. It was a luxury good, a precious commodity that flowed along established trade routes. The first coffee houses, known as cave canes, began to appear in the Middle East. These were not just places to drink. They were centers of intellectual and political discourse. They were the original incubators of the public sphere, a gentle revolution brewing in a cup. As coffee spread to Constantinople, Cairo, and Mecca, its economic and social power grew. It became so central to daily life that it was often viewed with suspicion by authorities. In Mecca, it was briefly banned in 1511, feared for its ability to gather people and stimulate conversation that might challenge the ruling powers. The economics of coffee, even then, were tied to the economics of ideas. The European introduction of coffee in the 17th century marked the next great economic shift. Venetian traders, with their vast networks, brought the wine of Araby to Italy. Initially, it was met with the same suspicion it had faced in the East. Some clergy urged Pope Clement VIII to ban it, calling it Satan's bitter invention. But the Pope, after tasting the brew, is said to have declared it so delicious that it would be a sin to let the infidels have exclusive use of it. He baptized coffee, effectively opening the floodgates to European consumption. The coffee house quickly became a fixture in major European cities: London, Paris, Amsterdam. In London, they were nicknamed penny universities, because for the price of a penny, one could buy a cup of coffee and engage in stimulating conversation with the brightest minds of the day. Lloyd's of London, the world's most famous insurance market, began as a coffee house. The London Stock Exchange and the Bank of England all have their roots in these quiet, caffeinated gathering places. This is the profound, gentle economic truth of coffee. It is not just a drink. It is a catalyst for commerce, a foundation for finance, and a quiet engine of intellectual progress. Yet, for all its global impact, the true heart of coffee economics lies in the soil, in the climate, and in the hands of the people who cultivate it. The journey from the quiet ritual of the coffee house back to the source, the farm, is where the real story of the supply chain begins. Having traced the coffee bean's journey from the high plateaus of Ethiopia to the intellectual salons of Europe, we must now return to the source. The economics of coffee are fundamentally tied to the delicate, slow process of its cultivation. This is where the value is born, not in the trading floor, but in the soil. The coffee plant, a member of the genus Coffea, is a demanding master. It thrives in a specific, narrow band of the globe known as the bean belt, a region characterized by high altitudes, consistent rainfall, and moderate temperatures. It prefers the shade of taller trees, a metaphor for the quiet, patient growth required in this industry. There are two dominant species that rule the global market, Arabica and Robusta. Arabica, accounting for about 60% of the world's production, is the delicate aristocrat. It prefers cooler, higher altitudes, is susceptible to disease, and requires meticulous care. Its reward is a complex, aromatic flavor profile that commands a premium price. The economics of Arabica are the economics of quality and risk. Robusta, on the other hand, is the hardy pragmatist. It grows in hotter climates, lower altitudes, is more resistant to pests, and yields a higher crop volume. It contains nearly twice the caffeine of Arabica, but its flavor is often described as harsher or more rubbery. The economics of Robusta are the economics of efficiency and volume, often destined for instant coffee or espresso blends where its strong body and crema are valued. The life cycle of a coffee plant is a lesson in patience. From the moment a seedling is planted, it takes approximately 3 to 5 years before it produces its first harvestable crop. This long lead time is a critical economic factor. Farmers must invest significant labor and resources for years before seeing any return, making them highly vulnerable to market fluctuations and climate events. The flowering of the coffee plant is a beautiful, fleeting event. After a period of dry weather, a sudden rain will trigger a cascade of white, jasmine-scented blossoms. These flowers last only a few days before giving way to the green cherries. The harvest is not a single event, but a slow, deliberate process that can last for weeks or even months. This is where the labor intensity of coffee cultivation becomes most apparent. The best coffee, the specialty grade that commands the highest prices, must be hand-picked. Coffee cherries on a single branch ripen at different times, meaning a picker must return to the same tree multiple times, selecting only the perfectly ripe red cherries. This selective harvesting is a massive economic differentiator. In contrast, lower-grade coffee is often strip-picked, where all cherries, ripe and unripe, are stripped from the branch at once, or harvested by machine. This is faster and cheaper, representing the economics of mass production, but it inevitably compromises quality. The gentle economics of quality coffee demand human judgment and patience. The picker's daily wage is often determined by the volume of cherries they collect. In many regions, this is a precarious existence, where the global price of coffee directly translates into the daily sustenance of a family. The price volatility of the international market, which we will explore later, is a constant, quiet anxiety hanging over these tranquil fields. Once the cherries are picked, the clock starts ticking. The fruit must be processed quickly to prevent fermentation and spoilage. The cherry itself is merely the vessel. The true treasure, the green coffee bean, lies hidden within. The next step in the supply chain is the transformation of the fruit into the seed, a process that determines the fundamental character of the coffee we eventually drink. This results in a coffee with a heavier body, lower acidity, and often intense, fruity or wine-like notes. It is a slower, more labor-intensive drying process, as the cherries must be constantly turned to ensure even drying and prevent mold. The economic choice between these two methods is often dictated by geography and resources. In regions with limited water, like parts of Ethiopia and Yemen, the natural method is a necessity. In regions with abundant water and a focus on high-volume, consistent quality, the washed method prevails. Each choice is a calculated risk, a bet on the market's preference for clarity versus complexity. Once the beans reach the optimal moisture content, typically around 10 to 12%, they are known as parchment coffee if washed, or simply dried cherries if natural. They are then hulled to remove the final protective layer. The result is the eager green coffee bean, the raw commodity that will be traded across the globe. This green bean is remarkably stable and can be stored for months, even years, without significant loss of quality. This stability is the key to the next stage of the supply chain, the global logistics and financial markets that turn a delicate agricultural product into a powerful economic force. The quiet work of the farm is done, the loud work of the market is about to begin. Once the coffee beans have been processed and dried, they enter a new phase of their economic life. They are no longer just an agricultural product. They have become a global commodity. This is the world of the green coffee trade, a complex network of logistics, finance, and quiet negotiation that spans the oceans. The green coffee bean is the raw material of the industry. In its unroasted state, it is hard, stable, and possesses a subtle, grassy aroma. It is packed into iconic burlap sacks, each typically weighing 60 kilograms or about 132 pounds. These sacks are the standard unit of the global trade, a physical representation of the massive volume of coffee that moves around the world every day. The journey from the farm to the port is the first major logistical hurdle. In many coffee-producing countries, this involves navigating rugged terrain and unreliable infrastructure. The cost of this inland transport is a significant factor in the final price of the coffee. It is a slow, often arduous process that requires patience and coordination. At the port, the coffee is graded and assessed for quality. This is a quiet, highly specialized task performed by cuppers or quality control experts. They look for defects, consistency, and the unique flavor characteristics of each lot. This grading determines the coffee's value on the international market. High-grade specialty coffee can command prices many times higher than the standard commodity grade. The economics of the green coffee trade are heavily influenced by the futures market, primarily the Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, in New York for Arabica, and the London International Financial Futures and Options Exchange for Robusta. These markets allow buyers and sellers to lock in prices for future delivery, providing a level of stability in an otherwise volatile industry. However, the futures market is also a place of speculation, where global events, weather patterns, and economic shifts can cause prices to swing wildly. For the small-scale farmer, these fluctuations can be devastating. The C price, as the commodity price is known, often hovers near or even below the cost of production, creating a cycle of poverty for many producers. This is where the role of the green coffee broker becomes crucial. Brokers act as the bridge between the producers and the roasters. They handle the complex paperwork of international trade, manage the risks of shipping, and often provide financing to farmers. A good broker is a curator of relationships, ensuring that the right coffee reaches the right roaster at the right time. The logistics of shipping coffee are a marvel of modern commerce. Thousands of containers, each filled with hundreds of sacks of coffee, are loaded onto massive cargo ships. These ships traverse the globe, following the ancient trade routes that have connected east and west for centuries. It is a slow, steady movement of value across the sea. As the coffee arrives at its destination port, be it Hamburg, New Jersey, or Tokyo, it is moved into specialized warehouses. These are quiet, temperature-controlled spaces where the coffee can rest before it is sent to the roaster. The green bean is now ready for its final transformation, the process that will finally unlock the flavors we know and love. The green coffee trade is a testament to the power of global cooperation and the intricate, often invisible systems that sustain our daily rituals. It is a world of high stakes and quiet expertise, where the value of a single bean is determined by 1,000 different factors, all converging in a single, silent transaction. It operates on thin margins and high volumes. The specialty roasting market allows for significant brand differentiation and higher profit margins. A roaster is not just selling a product. They are selling a specific flavor profile, a story of origin, and a commitment to quality. The shift from large-scale industrial roasting to small-batch artisanal roasting has been a major trend in the third wave of coffee. This movement has decentralized the industry, allowing small businesses to compete on quality rather than just price. It has created a new class of master roasters who are as much scientists as they are craftsmen. The equipment used in roasting is a significant capital investment. From traditional gas-fired drum roasters to modern air roasters with sophisticated computer controls, the technology is constantly evolving. Yet, despite the automation, the final judgment still rests with the human senses: the sight of the bean's color, the sound of the crack, and the aroma of the cooling tray. Once the roast is complete, the beans must be cooled quickly to stop the chemical reactions. They then enter a period of degassing, where they release carbon dioxide. This is why coffee bags often have a one-way valve, to allow the gas to escape without letting oxygen in, which would quickly stale the beans. The economics of roasting are also tied to the concept of shrinkage. During the roast, coffee beans lose approximately 15 to 20% of their weight as moisture is driven off. This loss must be factored into the final price. It is a literal evaporation of volume in exchange for an explosion of value. As the roasted beans are packaged and prepared for the final consumer, the supply chain is almost complete. The bean has traveled thousands of miles, passed through dozens of hands, and undergone a profound physical transformation. It is now ready for the final, most intimate stage of its journey: the brew. The history of coffee consumption is often described in waves. The first wave was the mass-market adoption of coffee as a household staple, characterized by pre-ground, vacuum-sealed tins. The second wave was the rise of the coffeehouse culture, bringing espresso-based drinks and a focus on origin to the mainstream. But it is the third wave that has most profoundly reshaped the gentle economics of the industry. The third wave is characterized by a treatment of coffee not as a commodity, but as an artisanal product. Much like fine wine or craft chocolate, it is a movement that prioritizes quality, transparency, and sustainability above all else. In this economic model, the story of the bean, its specific farm, its varietal, and its processing method is as important as the taste itself. One of the most significant shifts in the third wave is the rise of direct trade. In the traditional commodity model, coffee passes through a long chain of intermediaries, with the farmer often receiving only a small fraction of the final retail price. Direct trade seeks to shorten this chain, with roasters building long-term, personal relationships with individual farmers. In a direct trade relationship, the roaster often pays a significant premium, well above the C price of the commodity market, in exchange for exceptional quality and a commitment to sustainable farming practices. This provides the farmer with a stable, predictable income, allowing them to invest in their land, their equipment, and their community. It is an economic model built on mutual respect and shared value. Sustainability, in the third wave, is not just an environmental goal. It is an economic necessity. Climate change, as we will explore later, is a constant threat to coffee production. Sustainable practices, such as shade-grown cultivation, water conservation, and soil health management, are essential for the long-term viability of the industry. The third wave has also brought a new focus on traceability. Consumers today want to know exactly where their coffee comes from and the impact their purchase has on the world. This has led to the rise of certifications like Fair Trade and Rainforest Alliance, which provide a level of assurance regarding labor practices and environmental standards. However, the third wave goes beyond certifications. It is about a deeper connection between the producer and the consumer. Many specialty roasters now include the name of the farmer or the specific estate on their packaging, turning the anonymous producer into a recognized partner in the process. This focus on quality and story has created a new economic niche, the specialty coffee market. While it represents a smaller volume than the mass market, it is the fastest-growing segment of the industry. It has allowed small-scale farmers to compete on excellence rather than just scale, providing a path to prosperity that was previously inaccessible. The third wave is also a movement of education. Baristas and roasters act as ambassadors, teaching consumers about the nuances of flavor and the complexities of the supply chain. This increased appreciation for the craft of coffee allows for higher price points, which in turn supports the higher costs of sustainable, high-quality production. As we look at the quiet, focused work of a specialty cafe, we are seeing the culmination of this movement. Every cup is a testament to a global network of people committed to doing things differently, to a gentle economics that values quality, transparency, and the human connection above all else. The third wave is not just a trend. It is a fundamental shift in how we value one of the world's most beloved products. The final destination of the coffee bean's long journey is the consumer's cup. But the way that cup is filled varies dramatically across the globe, reflecting a diverse array of cultural traditions and economic realities. From the quick, standing-room-only espresso bars of Italy to the slow, meticulous pour-over rituals of Japan, the economics of consumption are as varied as the flavors themselves. In many parts of the world, coffee is a social lubricant, a reason to gather and converse. In the Nordic countries, which consistently rank as the highest per capita coffee consumers, the fika is a sacred institution, a daily break for coffee and a small snack, emphasizing the importance of slowing down and connecting with others. The economics of the fika are not about the cost of the coffee, but the value of the time spent. In contrast, the rise of global coffee chains has transformed coffee into a convenient, on-the-go commodity. This model is built on speed, consistency, and scale. The economics of a large chain latte are a complex mix of real estate costs, labor, branding, and high-volume supply chain management. It is a far cry from the quiet ritual of the home-brewed cup, yet it represents a massive segment of the global market. Then there is the world of instant coffee, the hardy survivor of the first wave. For millions of people, particularly in emerging markets, instant coffee is the primary way they experience the beverage. It is the economics of accessibility and efficiency, a product that is easy to transport, has a long shelf life, and requires no specialized equipment. While often dismissed by specialty enthusiasts, instant coffee remains a vital economic force in the industry. The preparation method itself carries its own economic weight. An espresso machine is a significant capital investment for a cafe, requiring skilled labor to operate and maintain. A simple French press or a pour-over dripper, on the other hand, represents a more accessible, low-tech approach to quality. Each method reflects a different philosophy of value, one emphasizing technology and speed, the other emphasizing craft and patience. The price of a cup of coffee is also a fascinating economic indicator. The latte index, similar to the Big Mac index, is often used to compare the purchasing power of different currencies and the cost of living in various cities. It reveals the hidden costs of doing business, the rent, the taxes, and the labor laws that shape our daily transactions. As we move into the home, the economics of coffee become even more personal. The rise of high-end home brewing equipment, from precision grinders to temperature-controlled kettles, shows a growing willingness among consumers to invest in their own daily ritual. It is a shift from passive consumption to active participation in the craft. But regardless of the method or the cost, the core of the experience remains the same. A moment of pause, a sensory engagement with a product that has traveled thousands of miles to reach us. Whether it is a quick shot of espresso before work or a slow cup of coffee on a Sunday morning, the ritual provides a sense of continuity and calm in an increasingly busy world. The global consumer is the final link in the supply chain, the one whose choices ultimately drive the entire industry. By choosing quality, sustainability, and transparency, consumers have the power to shape the future of coffee, ensuring that the gentle economics we have explored continue to thrive for generations to come. As we take that final sip, we are not just consuming a beverage, we are participating in a global story of labor, craft, and connection. The journey of the bean is complete, but its impact continues to resonate, one quiet cup at a time. As we conclude our journey through the global coffee supply chain, we must look toward the horizon. The gentle economics that have sustained this industry for centuries are facing their greatest challenge yet: a changing climate. The delicate balance of altitude, temperature, and rainfall that coffee requires is being disrupted, threatening the livelihoods of millions and the future of our daily ritual. Climate change is not a distant threat for coffee farmers. It is a present reality. Rising temperatures are pushing coffee cultivation to higher altitudes, reducing the available land for production. Increased frequency of extreme weather events, droughts, floods, and unpredictable frosts can wipe out an entire year's harvest in a single stroke. The bean belt is shifting, and with it, the economic map of the world. One of the most insidious effects of a warming world is the spread of pests and diseases. Coffee leaf rust, a devastating fungal disease, thrives in warmer, wetter conditions. It has already caused billions of dollars in losses across Central and South America, forcing many small-scale farmers to abandon coffee altogether. The economics of adaptation are high, requiring investment in new, resistant varietals and more intensive farm management. But where there is challenge, there is also innovation. Scientists and agronomists are working tirelessly to develop new coffee hybrids that are more resilient to heat and disease while maintaining the complex flavor profiles that consumers demand. This is a slow, patient science, a long-term investment in the future of the species. There is also a renewed interest in forgotten coffee species, such as Coffea stenophila, which grows in warmer climates and has a flavor profile similar to high-end Arabica. The exploration of these alternative species is a key part of the industry's strategy for resilience. It is an economic bet on diversity and adaptation. Technology is also playing a role in securing the future of coffee. From satellite monitoring of weather patterns to blockchain-based traceability systems, the industry is becoming more data-driven and transparent. These tools allow for better risk management and ensure that the value created in the supply chain is shared more equitably with the producers. The future of coffee also depends on the continued growth of the specialty market and the commitment of consumers to support sustainable practices. By valuing quality and transparency, we provide the economic incentive for farmers to invest in the long-term health of their land. Our daily ritual is a powerful vote for the kind of world we want to live in. As we finish this exploration, we are reminded that economics is not just about numbers and markets. It is about people, their labor, their craft, and their connection to the natural world. The story of coffee is a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring power of a simple, shared experience. The world will continue to move at its hurried pace, but the quiet ritual of coffee will remain, a moment of pause, a breath of calm, and a gentle reminder of the intricate global web that connects us all. The journey of the bean continues, evolving and adapting, ensuring that for generations to come, the world can still wake up to the quiet promise of a perfect cup. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the gentle economics of coffee. If you enjoyed this exploration, please leave a comment below and let us know what other quiet corners of the economy you would like us to visit. Until next time, sleep well, and may your mornings be filled with the aroma of a peaceful brew.